Attention-Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder affects about 1.8 million Canadians, making it one of the most common neurodevelopmental disorders in the country. Data indicates ADHD affects 4 to 6% of adults and 5 to 7% of children. And there's still a significant number of adults who remain undiagnosed or untreated. Andrea Zians, you are an ADHD coach. Welcome.
Thank you.
And these numbers, although sound kind of shocking, actually aren't shocking to me, because I've looked into this because my son has ADHD and has been diagnosed. And that's where I want to begin, because you hear so often now, we'll be like, oh, it's just my ADHD, right? Like it's just like commonplace now. But there's a big difference between being, slightly not focused and then someone having ADHD. So let's start there, because I think that's a good place for the conversation to begin.
Sure. I was actually just reading that many people have ADHD-like symptoms, but they don't have ADHD. And I think that's just the product of the world we live in. Cell phones, divided attention, short YouTube videos. I know my focus has changed over the last 10 years, but somebody with true ADHD suffers when they can't get their work done. They have difficulty managing their time. So ADHD is marked by certain characteristics that are not the same as ADHD-like symptoms.
Yeah, it's a different level, and you come by it honestly. It's genetically who you are. So I often have found too that friends, and including myself, who has a child with ADHD, ends up going, wait a minute, this is kind of me. And that's a big eye-opening experience. And we've come so far now with understanding and diagnosing ADHD, and I'm sure that that's got to be helpful in the work that you're doing.
100%. And I work with students. A lot of times they know they have ADHD, but then there's a lot of students who think they have ADHD. And so a lot of students get tested, but there is a lot of students who think they have ADHD out there as well.
And I would think that even if they thought, or they have problems focusing and studying and remembering and just that academic side of things, you can still help them. And that's what you do. And I think this is brilliant. This is something that I think so many of us could have used in our lives, because it's a lot. School is hard. And with all the distractions, as you mentioned, cell phones, stuff going on all the time, it is hard to stay focused into your studies and the academic side of things. So what are some of the things that you're doing to help students? And I know you've got a book, and I'm super excited to talk about it.
So I am an ADHD coach, and I specialize in working with high school, college, and university students. And I teach students how to study. I help them fill gaps if there's skills that they're missing. I help them with executive functioning, which is time management, planning, organization. And I also wrote this book, How to Study. It's actually a workbook, How to Study with ADHD and Other Learning Challenges. And it's filled with strategies so that students can learn how to engage differently with their academics.
This is great.
Thank you.
Like to have a workbook, that can help you understand and manage, I think has got to be really important for kids, young adults, as they learn. So what are some of the things that you've noticed and have been able to help with in the work that you do?
So I wrote this book because I noticed that there are certain things a lot of students do, not just with ADHD, but students with ADHD do in general. And I wanted to give them almost like a recipe how to avoid that. So in the book, I talk about the word studying is such an ominous word. It actually makes people, they have like a physical reaction when they hear, I've got to study.
No doubt.
And this book teaches you how to engage with your academics. You might not think you can study, but everybody can engage more with their work. And I try and set the stage so you understand engagement, doing more active study strategies. It's really good for you, and not to be afraid of failing. You can't fail if you engage and you're interested and you are looking for connections and being more active with your work.
Yeah, and there's a process that you go through, and you try to move students from cramming the night before to taking their time to learn, and then almost relaxing the night before an exam.
100%, because people often think, and a lot of times students with ADHD will tell me they do better with pressure and they need that adrenaline, but the truth of the matter is that's not the best way to perform on a test. And we say that students with ADHD have two times. They have now and not now. So they often think, oh, I'll get to this later, it's not right now, and then all of a sudden later arrives and they think it's now, and they open up that assignment or that exam or that test, and it's way bigger than they thought. Overwhelm kicks in, and they don't know where to begin. So I really do teach students how to create several nows and how to plan out your studying and how to set goals and how to really make a good assessment. What is due and what do I have to do to be able to do it so that I'm not cramming the night before.
That's brilliant.
Thank you.
It really is. Like, and I think it will take so much pressure off of young people who are struggling with this part. As a parent, what can you do to support your child?
I think that a lot of parents don't realize that students are capable and they're bright and they're struggling because they don't yet have the skills. Our school system, there are a lot of strategies and skills that we do not teach students, especially students with ADHD. So we tell them to take notes, we tell them to study, we tell them to set goals and prioritize, but we don't spend a lot of time teaching them how to do those things. So I do those things, and I think we have to teach students those strategies because it's not explicit, it's implicit. Some people learn how to do it naturally, and some people need to be taught to do it. It's not rocket science. As soon as a student with ADHD starts to learn to have these strategies and to be able to do these things, they start making tremendous success.
Andrea, I could talk to you for another half hour. No, honestly, like you're just a wealth of information and such support for families that are struggling with this. So we'll have to have you back.
Thank you.
Come back and we'll do an Andrea part 2 on the strategies to help students study with ADHD. Amazing work that you're doing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.